These are the scary ghost videos that will twist your nights into fear. Starting with scariest ghosts caught on camera, these ghostly apparitions are always terrifying, but they're even more frightening when you see them caught on camera. Take this apparition of a man in a Victorian nightgown. For example, he was captured by a ghost hunter who had set up their equipment inside a notoriously haunted house. But it wasn't just any house. It was the house where the ghost hunter lived, and the ghost seemed to appear every single time he tried to sleep. So he finally decided to capture it on camera. But one thing is for certain, he didn't capture any video footage of this haunting before. Now I don't know exactly what kind of camera he used or how long he had to wait to get this shot. As viewers, we can't help but feel a sense of dread as we watch this clip. They might also show up in your selfies. Just ask this Reddit user who shared their eerie experience with the world. After all, if a ghost is appearing in someone's home on a regular basis, that's not exactly a place you'd want to live in. At first glance, it looks like any other picture of a historic building's interior. But there's something about the way this ghost is moving that makes it even more terrifying. This Reddit user was taking their dog for a stroll one evening when they noticed a girl walking towards them. He seems to be floating above the floor, and if that's not enough to give you goosebumps, wait until he turns around and looks directly at the camera. That's when they noticed something strange. Her eyes were pitch black. As she approached, they could smell a putrid odor coming from her, and her skinless face made it clear that she wasn't a living person. Terrified, they tried to avoid her gaze, but she just stood there staring at them. You have to wonder if he saw the person filming him, or if he is just as startled by their presence as we are. But some ghosts aren't just content with haunting your home. First, she wouldn't tell him where she was headed, and then he started to feel a cold sensation enveloping him. If that's not enough to make you never pick up a hitchhiker again, I don't know what is. According to the listing, the house is haunted by the spirit of a little girl named Lucy, who died in the home more than 100 years ago. Others have felt a sudden drop in temperature or sensed a strange presence in the room, but Lucy isn't your typical ghost. Imagine sitting in your room alone when suddenly you feel a cold, ghostly hand reach out and grab yours. You'd probably scream, but unfortunately for some guests, that's exactly what happened. Then, just as suddenly as she appeared, she vanished into thin air. Talk about a close call. But if you're looking for a truly terrifying haunted house experience, look no further than this Airbnb in Savannah, Georgia. The house has been the site of several deaths and is said to be infested with ghosts. But perhaps the most disturbing reports are of a more sinister nature. At first they thought it was just a coincidence, but then it started to happen too often to ignore. Suddenly, the number 666 seemed to glow in the darkness as if it were written in glowing red paint. They tried to rationalize it away, telling themselves it was just a trick of the light. Her skin was gray and peeling, and she had no nose or eyes. Back at home, they looked at the photos and noticed something strange. But the worst part was yet to come. As he continued driving, he realized that she wasn't in the passenger seat where he had seen her. Take this Reddit user, for example. Was it the ghost of someone buried in the cemetery or just a figment of their imagination? We may never know for sure. Maybe it was the presence of a ghost or perhaps some other malevolent entity. They might want to interact with you, whether you like it or not. They checked the security cameras and saw a man in a hat standing on their porch. He knocked again, and this time they decided to answer. But when they did, the man was gone. Take this story, for example. This person was home alone one night when they heard a knock at the door. Whatever the case may be, this person never forgot the terror they felt when they saw that number in the darkness. Instead, she was in the back seat staring directly at him. He was wearing the same hat as before, and it was the same style as the ones worn by US Marshals during the 1930s. The man was always wearing the same hat, and he would disappear each time they checked the cameras. It was as if he were a ghost who wanted to communicate with them. But what could he possibly want? This individual was visiting New Orleans when they stumbled upon a cemetery. They decided to explore the grounds, and that's when they saw it. A mausoleum with the number 666 carved into it. And see a man in a vintage hat on your porch, you might want to keep your door closed. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more terrifying tales. Others have reported finding scratches on their skin that appeared out of nowhere. Terrified, they tried to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. Then they started to hear a voice whispering their name. Eventually the door opened and they ran out of the bathroom as fast as they could. Take the case of this Reddit user who encountered a ghostly hitchhiker who refused to leave his car. Even numbers could have a ghostly presence. Take the case of this Reddit user who shared their unsettling encounter with the number 666. He had been driving home late one night when he saw a woman walking along the highway, but as soon as they entered the stall, they heard a knock. They ignored it, assuming it was just someone outside the door. If I were this person, I would definitely think twice before deleting any more photos anytime soon. One thing is for sure, you'll never want to stay in this house alone. She doesn't seem to belong there, and she certainly wasn't there when I took the photo. This Airbnb listing might look like your dream vacation spot, but it comes with a warning. The user goes on to explain that they had seen similar figures in other photos taken in the same location. One day, they were browsing through their recently deleted photos when they came across this snapshot taken inside an old theater. but then you notice the woman standing in the corner. And while it is impossible to say for sure whether these are actual ghosts or just some sort of trick of the light, the sheer number of sightings makes it pretty convincing. Who could have guessed that a simple walk in the park could lead to such a terrifying encounter? At first everything seemed fine, but then the girl stopped in her tracks and turned to face them. And when they finally looked back, her eyes were filled with a menacing grin. Paralyzed with fear, they couldn't move a muscle as she closed in. Some ghosts, however, aren't so easily deterred. Concerned for her safety, he pulled over and offered her a ride. But as soon as she got in the car, things started to feel off. When he turned to look at her, he saw a ghastly sight. Horrified, he slammed on the brakes and turned around to confront her. But when he did, she vanished into thin air. But it's not only cars that ghosts might haunt. It's spooky season after all, and that means haunted houses are in full swing. The previous guest left behind some unwanted company, a ghost that is. She likes to play pranks on unsuspecting guests. Some have reported hearing the sound of footsteps or even seeing the apparition of a young girl. But perhaps the most disturbing reports are those of people who have been touched by Lucia's ghostly hand. It's not clear whether or not Lucy is friendly or malevolent, but one thing is for sure, she's not afraid to make her presence known. This antebellum mansion is steeped in history, and it is rumored to be one of the most haunted places in the city. Guests have reported seeing apparitions of former residents, hearing disembodied voices, and feeling cold spots throughout the house. Some guests have claimed that they were scratched or bitten by unseen entities while staying in the house. While it is impossible to say for sure whether these are the work of ghosts or just some overactive imaginations, in the middle of the night, however, it's not only physical objects that might be haunted. They had been seeing this number everywhere, on license plates, phone numbers, even in the prices of items they were buying. Then one night, they were home alone when the power went out. But deep down, they knew something else was at play. If you thought that was creepy, just wait until you hear this story. They couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, so they decided to snap a few pictures. In one of the shots, they could have sworn they saw the face of a dead man staring back at them. It's not just cemeteries and houses that are haunted. Sometimes, even seemingly ordinary places like bathrooms can be a portal to the afterlife. They were visiting a friend's house when they needed to use the bathroom. Everything seemed fine at first, but then it happened again. Someone was definitely knocking from the inside of the stall. But sometimes ghosts aren't content with just scaring you. They opened it and were surprised to find no one there. They checked the cameras again, but this time the man was in their driveway. Over the next few weeks, this happened several times. When it comes to ghosts, anything is possible. But one thing's for sure, if you hear a knock at your door, thanks for watching. Which of these stories was your favorite? Let us know in the comments below.